Hello children, good morning. This is English for class 11. So, how are you all my dear children? Very good. So, today we are going to revise. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. Once again we are going to revise. This is a very important lesson, So, let's revise once again children. Are you all ready? Okay, let's begin children. So, we begin with the summary of the lesson. Okay, children? Okay. The narrator and his wife plan a voyage around the world just like famous Captain James Cook. They have been preparing and perfecting their seafaring skills for the past 16 years. They get a ship which is 23 meters long and weighs 30 tons, wooden hulled, named Wave Walker. They test it in the rough weather for months together. In July 1976, they all start their journey from Plymouth, England. They sail from Africa to Cape Town, which was quite a pleasant journey. Before heading east, the narrator hired two crewmen, Larry Vigil and Herb Sigler, to help them tackle one of the roughest sea, the Southern Indian Ocean. They encounter, that means they have to face strong and alarming waves during the second day. By December 25th, they all manage to reach 35,000 kilometers east of Cape Town. Now the family somehow manages to surpass the bad weather and celebrates Christmas together. So they somehow manage, to surpass the bad weather. And what do? They celebrate the festival of Christmas together, the entire family. So the weather, what happens to the weather? The weather changes for the worse. It was bad, now it has become worse. And when did this happen? On January 2nd, the big waves hit them. Imagine what must have happened to the ship, children. They tried to slow the ship down by dropping storm jib and hit a heavy mooring rope in a loop across a stern. But it doesn't help much. Okay, they carry their life raft drill, attach lifelines, don life jackets, that means they put on, and oil skins. Later, what happens in the evening? A vertical and huge wave strikes the ship and the narrator is thrown off from the ship. He accepts his approaching death. So he is very sure, what? I'm going to die. That is what his feeling is, and starts losing consciousness. When the ship is about to overturn, a huge wave hit again and turns it right back. He suffers injuries in ribs and mouth. He grabs the guardrail and sails into the ship's main boom. He instructs his wife, Mary, to guard the wheel as he realizes that the ship has water in the lower parts. So his crewman starts pumping out the water. The narrator goes to his children's cabin and checks on them. His daughter Sue informs him about a bump on her head. She has also received injury, which he ignores because his major concern is to save the ship. Only then he'll be able to save all the lives. So that was his major concern. The narrator does waterproofing on the gaping holes. This makes water to deviate on the right side. Now it goes to the right side. The hand pump gets blocked due to debris, and electric pump gets short-circuited. However, he later finds a spare electric pump and connects it to drain the water. They all keep pumping the water all night long, because if the ship is full of water, what will happen to it? It will go underwater. Yes, their mayday calls are not answered as they are in the remotest corner of the world. Sue, on the other hand, has now a swollen black eye and a deep cut in her arm. On being asked by her father about her injuries, she tells him she didn't want him to worry as he was trying to save them. So after 15 hours, the situation gets under control. Imagine children, 15 long hours. They must have gone through hell during those 15 hours. The narrator decides to work in rotation and rests, because rest is also required. The water levels are controlled, but the leaks were still there below the waterline. So the ship is in bad shape now. Matter of great concern, yes children, it is not in a condition to reach Australia, and so they decide to reach the nearest island, Isle Amsterdam, a French scientific base. As their supporting engines were also damaged, the chances of the ship to reach the destination are low, very low children, because the condition of the ship is very bad. It is badly damaged. So let's see what happens. After pumping the water out continuously for 36 hours, they took a sigh of relief. Only a few centimeters of water was left to be pumped out of the boat. They hoisted the storm jib as the main mast was destroyed. They ate the first meal in 2 days, some corned beef and crackers. Crackers are biscuits, crispy biscuits. The weather soon started changing, and again the black clouds took over. By the morning of January 5th, his son Jonathan told him that he didn't fear death as long as they were all together. See children, mark this sentence. This justifies the title of the story, children. You got it? See, this story, this summary justifies what? The title of the story. This filled him with determination to fight the sea. So if you get a question on justification of the title, you can take so many points from this summary. Did you understand that, children? What am I trying to tell you? Yes. So this filled him with determination to fight the sea. The struggle continued, and the narrator tried his best to protect the weakened starboard side. The same evening, the narrator and his wife sat together, holding hands, thinking that their end was near. They were very sure that they are going to die now. His children continuously supported him, which gave him moral support to keep going. Moral support was very much required, children, and also to be optimistic. See how optimistic the children were? The wave walkers sailed through the storm and made it. The narrator then calculated their exact position by working on the wind speed. While he was brainstorming, Sue gave him a card that she had made expressing her love and gratitude towards the family. He instructed Larry to steer the course to 100 degrees. He said that if they were lucky, they could hope to find an island by 5 p.m. He dozed off and suddenly got up around 6 p.m. So he went off to sleep and got up at 6 p.m. He believed that they didn't make it and was disappointed. His son came and informed him about how they reached the Isle Amsterdam island, and he called him best daddy and best captain. They reached the island with little struggle and with the help of inhabitants. Inhabitants are the people who live there. The whole team, the family and 2 crew members, never stopped trying. So their struggle and hard work finally saved them, children. Okay, children, now let's have a look at some of the questions and answers from the text. Understanding the text. List the steps taken by the captain. 1. To protect the ship when rough weather began. Then, second, to check the flooding of the water in the ship. Now let's have a look at the answers. Answer for the first one, children. The narrator decided to slow down the ship to protect it from bad and stormy weather. He dropped the storm jib and lashed heavy mooring rope across the stern of the ship. Then they double lashed everything. They carried their life raft drill, attached lifelines, donned life jackets and oilskins. Now we'll have a look at the second answer. To check the flooding of the water, the narrator put waterproof hatch which covered the gaping holes. This diverted the water flow to the side. His hand pumps, what happened, were blocked due to debris, and his one electric pump was short-circuited. He found a hand pump and a spare electric pump. He connected the electric pump to the out pipe and started it. Okay, the second question, children. Describe the mental condition of the voyagers on 4th and 5th January. So here's the answer for you. On January 4th, the voyagers felt relieved as they were continuously pumping out water. For how many hours? For 36 hours, and only a few centimeters of water was left. They had their first meal in 2 days. Mary found some corned beef and cracker biscuits. Later, around 4 p.m., the weather changed as black clouds marched towards them. The wind was now 40 knots. That's the measurement of the speed of the wind, and the sea was getting higher. That means we are talking about the waves. The weather got worse, and by the early morning of January 5th, so the situation is such, children, it is a very stressful situation, and this gave them mental stress, too much stress, children. Okay, describe the shifts in the narration of the events as indicated in the 3 sections of the text. Give a subtitle to each section. The first section, beginning of the round the voyage. What happened? The first section, I already said that, beginning of the round the voyage. The first section was cheerful. It is round the world voyage and full of hope as the family began their planned voyage, just like the one done 200 years ago by whom? By the famous captain James Cook. Yes, they had perfected their seafaring skills for 16 years. So it is like what you call in simple words like practicing, Yes. They built a ship called Wave Walker professionally, which was a 23 meters long, 30 tons wooden hulled ship. They celebrated Christmas on the ship despite the bad weather. The second section, the struggle with the big attack. This section changed from cheerful to intense. Now this is a section-wise summarization, you can say that. Section-wise, yes children. The family was under great pressure to survive the oncoming waves and bad weather conditions. A giant wave created chaos and the ship was about to overturn. The narrator was thrown off into the water. He almost drowned and got injured. So, along with the two hired crewmen, the narrator pumped out the water from the ship for 36 hours continuously. Imagine, children. He also tried repairing the parts of the ship. He almost lost his hope and believed they would die. But his children were fearless and courageous enough, which gave him the determination to fight back. Now the third section, you can call it victory. Yes, very suitable, appropriate. With the support of his children, the narrator kept trying to save the ship in order to reach the two small islands, Isle Amsterdam. So they finally reached the destination and got help from the inhabitants of the island. Inhabitants, those who live there. His son called him the best daddy and best captain. So now talking about the text now, children, what difference did you notice between the reaction of the adults and the children when faced with danger? There was a huge difference between the reaction of the adults and the children. See, the adults lose their hope at the end and wait for their fate of death. On the other hand, the children were very optimistic, hopeful, and gave the narrator moral support. With the support of his children, Jonathan and Suzanne, he decided to make it to the island at any cost. So the children showed maturity. His son expressed courage as to how he wasn't afraid to die if they were all together. This is the heading of the story, the title of the story. His daughter made him a card expressing her love and affection towards her parents and wrote a beautiful message. She was injured still. She didn't leave any hope. Yes, and she gave so much of moral support to her parents. How does the story suggest that optimism helps to endure the direst stress? Very true. Optimism is the determination to overcome any challenges. Without optimism, it is impossible to face difficulties and solve problems. The family fought the sea with great optimism and determination, which ultimately saved them. Again and again, on being attacked by the sea, they didn't stop trying, which helped them to get to the shore on the Isle Amsterdam Island. When the son of the narrator told him, "We aren't afraid of dying if we can all be together, you and Mummy, Sue and I," they showed the maturity of the children and how they played an important role in motivating the narrator who had almost lost hope. Sue, his daughter, who made him a card, showed how she was proud of her parents and didn't make a big deal of her injuries, which were in a very bad condition. With struggles and efforts, they finally made it to the destination. Correct. What lessons do we learn from such hazardous experiences when we are face to face with death? Yeah, so what a nice, beautiful question. Life is never about being happy all the time. Yes, life has got ups and downs. We are constantly tested, and how we tackle every problem and rise through it is the ultimate lesson. Such hazardous situations teach us how we should react towards them. We must never lose hope and keep trying and trying, as it will lead to success. In certain situations, one must keep calm and think logically, no matter how bad the situation is. The significance of being extra cautious and to make sure the situation doesn't get worse is required at such moments. Why do you think people undertake such adventurous expeditions in spite of the risks involved? Such adventurous expeditions, oh my God. The willingness to accept challenges drives people to take such adventurous expeditions in spite of the risk involved. People like to try different elements of nature, and some do it as a passion. Surely people already know the risks involved in such activities, but still they do not hesitate to try it out. Okay, some grammar exercises now. Thinking about the language. See, gale, storm. Here are two more words for storm: typhoon, cyclone. How many words does your language have for storm? See, look there. See there. Tufan, Andhi. Yes, Andar. Okay. Here are some terms for different kinds of vessels: yacht, boat, canoe, ship, steamer, schooner. Think of similar terms in your language. Just see that. So many. Kashti, now, nauka. In your language also, there must be words, synonymous. Yes. Catamaran is a kind of a boat. Do you know which Indian language this word is derived from? Check the dictionary. The word catamaran is derived from the Tamil Nadu word kattumaram. Have you heard any boatmen's songs? What kind of emotions do these songs usually express? Now, yes, such boatmen songs express love and what? Nostalgia. They also express the longing to meet the loved ones. Correct. Okay, the following words used in the text as ship terminology are also commonly used in another sense. In what context would you use the other meaning? Not, stern, boom, hatch, anchor. See here, children, not a tangled mass and something interlacing, looping. Stern, harsh, firm, strict. Somebody is very strict. You say, oh my God, he's so stern. Boom, to experience a sudden, rapid growth. That is boom. See, to increase in popularity. What is that? Hatch, to cause an egg to break in order to allow a young animal to come out. Next, to make a plan. Anchor, host of an event. A person who can be relied upon for support. So in this session, we have done so many questions and answers. Summary. All the questions are very important, children. Yes, go to the story. Then write down all the questions and answers. Very important. That's all. Thank you. Goodbye.